And I see Terran in chat going, recovering Shalamourne was a heavy session. But that brings me to a very important question, and we have to settle this debate. Since Terran is here, hopefully he can pass this over.
I know what's coming. I think I know
Is it called Kingsmourne or Shalamourne?
Well, I think, look, I wasn't really familiar with the whole nomenclature at the time, so I didn't really know because when I first saw it, I was like, oh, Shalamourne, because, Frostmourne, Shalamourne. And so it looks like the other, and there's this. So, I mean, that's what I said. But I can see the logic behind it being Kingsmourne, because if I see it as a Mourn blade being a thing, a Mourn blade being, a blade that has somebody's soul and whatever, then at that point, that's kind of like the suffix. And the beginning name would be whatever the situation is for that particular Mourn blade. Okay. And so I kind of like that it's its own thing. And that it's not necessarily, even though it looks like the other one, tied to Shalamourne. I do kind of like that this is Kingsmourne. It makes it more Anduin's thing, I guess.
I mean, I'm always going to call it Shalamourne.
I see the validity in both names. I know that I first called it Shalamourne based on the two swords, or the sword that I had seen before.
Yeah.
But I see the logic behind the other one. I think that they're both valid. But, they're going forward with Kingsmourne now, so it's Kingsmourne.
Terran, please. It's a missed opportunity. You cannot not call it Shalamourne. Shalamourne just feels better. I'm so triggered that I even have to ask this, but a lot of people wanted me to ask this. Do you believe that Anduin is Arthas' son?
That's a tough one. I don't know. That's something that I've kept intentionally vague on. I really don't know. That's it'd be an interesting thing to see it either way. But yeah, no, I have no idea. They don't tell me enough of that stuff.
I mean, it would be out of left field, quite frankly.
For sure.
And I think it would upset Anduin in many ways. If you were to imagine the story, because obviously you're not one of the writers, you don't necessarily know where the story is going, what do you think happened to Arthas? You had that scene with Anduin as Anduin is walking past Uther. Uther is experiencing very much the same what he experienced with Arthas. There was a very specific thing set up there. Where do you think Arthas is? And I'm asking you to put on your speculation cap now and sort of speculate.
I have honestly, man, I have no idea. You
genuinely have no idea.
Genuinely have no idea. Here's another thing in terms of that. One of the big reasons I have no idea is because my experience with the WoW lore has been kind of in like a jigsaw puzzle, because I've never been in a guild. So a lot of end game content, a lot of end game cinematics, a lot of that kind of story progression, I am only just now seeing like by looking it up on YouTube. So like I was never really in any of these raids when they were current content. Yeah. I think the exception would be this expansion right now in Shadowlands, because since I've started streaming, I've had some wonderful guilds that have brought me along on some of their things. And so I've gotten to see some of these scenes as they happen. But for the most part, like I didn't see Legion when it was current. Like I literally saw Legion when I just started back up to play Shadowlands, and I was leveling up my Alliance character, and so I had to do old Legion content. I didn't have to, but I wanted to.
Yeah.
So like a lot of this stuff, it's like Swiss cheese to me. So, okay. A lot of the finer points of a character like Arthas that I'm not necessarily going to be privy to, because I wasn't really in it for that expansion, and so I didn't necessarily see it. So that's another reason why it's very difficult for me to speculate, because lore-wise, like I know more than the average non-WoW player, obviously, or a casual WoW player, but there's a lot of stuff like the finer intricacies of this character that's not Anduin's motivation and place, mental state in this expand. Like I just wouldn't know. So
you're not difficult. You're not big in the you're not like me, complete WoW lore freak.
Getting into it more because now I'm seeing more cinematics, and I'm now that I see this, and this makes me want to look up that, and then I'll look up that. But again, like I'm not experiencing it in the timeline or in the order in which it was meant to be consumed.
Yes.
Like it's all piecemeal, so I'm really just putting together the jigsaw puzzle more after the fact.
Okay.
So I learn more about the character's motivations with each thing that I do. Like when I did the audiobook, I learned a lot more. I didn't even know about Will. I didn't even know Will existed. That was probably the first time that it was the first time that I'd really delved into Turalian's character at all, because I hadn't played Legion. Okay. So it was it's basically that kind of stuff. Like in terms of speculation on that, I'm hamstrung because I'm still putting a lot of that stuff together.
A few weeks ago, I tweeted out that World of Warcraft needs to make a musical. They have to turn one of their cinematics into a musical. I believe that it could work. I believe that it's what the people want. And it's actually one of the questions that one of my mods wanted me to ask you. Do you still sing?
Yeah, of course I still sing. But look at the song Laura Bailey sang and how perfect it fit into the lore. It didn't feel forced at all. Like I feel like it really.
That was an amazing cinematic.
Expand the world, because music obviously is going to be in all of these people's lives in some form. Mm-hmm. I want to hear what the Tauren hear as music. I want to hear what the goblins, what is music to that. Like I would love to see a musical aspect introduced into the World of Warcraft atmosphere. Sure, it's not going to be for everybody. Not everybody's going to like it, but I mean, I think it would be awesome. It would just flesh out the world even more. Music is obviously going to exist in any kind of civilization.
Of course, it's going to be a cultural thing. And I didn't even think of that, by the way. When you just said it, what does the Tauren consider good music? What does the goblins consider good music? Having Gallywix sing us a song that is owned to the culture of the goblins, I think would be awesome to just listen to. And it is good to hear that you're still singing. That is something that you enjoy. In the face of the World of Warcraft community, your favorite, this is two-part question, your favorite character, and it may not be Anduin, right? You may not choose Anduin. So your favorite character, also your favorite villain, and your favorite expansion.
Ooh. That's tough. I would say that Cataclysm will always have a special place in my heart, because it was the first time I ever felt like Balanced Druid was fun. Like that's when they had the wild mushrooms. That's when the Eclipse system really first kind of started out. Oh, those wild mushrooms! I wish they would bring back the wild mushrooms. Those were so. Those are so much fun to spam everywhere. So that'll always have a special place in my heart. Favorite character in WoW that's not Anduin.
Yeah, it can't be Anduin. And it may also not be based on the actress or actor that plays the character. It has to be just the character.
Let me see. There's so many characters that I like. I'm trying to like whittle it down to one. I really like Magni. In his diamond form, like I think that's hilarious and awesome at the same time. I don't know if he's my favorite though. Who would my favorite be? I also like Bane. I like Bane.
Oh, why Bane?
I like the Tauren. I like the Tauren in general.
You did say you like the Tauren. I just think, in my opinion, Bane and Thrall right now the most useless characters in the game. Anduin and everyone is helping. Well, Anduin is sort of caught still, but everyone is helping.
That's kind of a new development. Like
Bane and Thrall is just sitting there on the steps doing nothing, just hanging out.
They've been through a lot.
I mean,
imagine
really.
Like, they could go take a portal right now. They could go take a portal to their hometown.
Yeah.
Sitting in the middle of Oribos, just like head and head. I mean, they're not.
I mean, Bane is just sitting there waiting to be turned into steak, to be fair. He's not helping at all, nor is Thrall, to be fair. And I just want to say, Thrall didn't try to escape much. Jaina escaped constantly, and she's up there helping. Bane, we saved him first, and he's still doing nothing. But I get your love for the for the Tauren. What about your favorite villain?
Hogger.
Hogger. I
Hogger
mean,
without it.
that's a bit of a cop-out answer because he was never really a villain.
That was my very first like big quest. It's just the memories.
That was the first time I died, by the way. Like, my very first death in World of Warcraft was to Hogger. And I remember going to my friend, because my friends got me into... I didn't have internet at the time that World of Warcraft launched for the very first time. So when me and my friend moved in together, I finally had internet. And I remember going to his room and I'm like, how do you kill this? This is in the starting zone. I should be able to do it. He literally looked at my screen and he said, yeah, no, you're not doing that.
That was the very first time that I ever had like a raid, like a level 1 Hogger. It was amazing.
I mean, Hogger was a bitch.
Yeah. No, I mean, honestly, you know who else I like, and it's just a tiny villain, but he just always grossed me out, and would be Rawl from the Waycrest Manor. Not a big villain, but
yeah, actually,
he was just so gross. For dinner. Oh man, I love that guy.